Stage 18 of La Vuelta was always going to be about the break. How big, how long, and how successful. There was very little doubt that it wouldn't be the freedom fighters that got home first. 180 kilometres destination Izki, and indeed a lumpy old finale that almost guaranteed that the brave would be rewarded. As a result, the queue behind the race director's car at the beginning when we finally set off was very big. Vitoria-Gasteiz, our starting position, a looping course, a Category 2 followed by a Category 1, a sprint, and our rolling finale. And when you looked at the course profile, very little flat out there, and neither was there about the demeanour of those teams that would enjoy the day. And so it was, we were wondering how long it would take to establish. It was very quick, and it was very large. 42 riders up the road, and some of the best, indeed, of the peloton found themselves with a chance to add a stage win to what for some has been a disappointing race so far. Not least Euskaltel-Euskadi. Well, they were read the riot act by the director sportif. They'd missed it. This was them engaged in a forlorn chase to try and instill somebody in the break. After all, visiting the Basque Country, their hometown. Well, home team never made it on, and in fact, those who were up front decided that they possibly needed to stretch the legs if they were going to shake out some of those who would have better options behind them. Vacek, Kung and Schmidt decided there was just too many for company and set off in pursuit of glory. Well, there was a split, a grading, you might say, of our breakaway, and indeed we found Kruijswijk, Vacek, Lezcano, as well as three from Kern Farmer, Stefan Kung, Schmidt, of course, still being chased down, and Marc Soler. Well, ever determined to make an impact, he did so yet again. While trailing his teammate Jay Vine in the polka dot jersey competition, he wanted more and indeed started to assemble them. In fact, on this day, Marc Soler was indeed to take the polka dot jersey off Jay Vine by just one solitary point. But a point was being made as well by Richard Carapaz, determined to put the pressure on those around him in the general classification, and it was Mikkel Landa, the man that was struggling out there. Took a long time for T-Rex-QuickStep to call back help for Landa, and he left virtually exposed, I'm afraid. Kruijswijk then was the last to make a move, or was he? Uko Barado bridged up to him, and then a secondary attack by the man from Equipo Kern Farmer. He'd been up front along with three other teammates at the beginning of the day, including twice stage winner Pablo Castrillo. Well, today it was about Berardi. Just a modest advantage, but he was essentially at home. Knowing these roads like the back of his hand, he set off like a man possessed. Meanwhile, the red jersey group had regathered itself after Ben O'Connor had slipped just a little on the flat. They'd regathered themselves to indeed neutralise any distance between at least the podium and the top five. But this man was bringing it in yet again for Equipo Kern Farmer. A remarkable story, a remarkable team, and amazingly 3 stage wins for the invitees. We loved it. Well, it was almost a 1-2 behind, but Schmidt just managed to nudge in for second place, what might have been for him, the Swiss champion. Well, then we had a long wait before everyone else was to come in, after the celebrations, of course, by the winning team. Well, plenty of eyes were, of course, on the red jersey, but forlorn eyes were on this man, Mikkel Landa. Teammates did come back for him, but as the red jersey group crossed the line, this, don't forget, an attack that had been instilled by Richard Carapaz, but a sense of serenity washed over them with a 6-minute and 41 gap, indeed, to the day's winner. No change for them overall, but a big drop for Mikkel Landa. The clock tolls upon those who fail, and I'm afraid today it was a very, very tough ask for Landa. So angry was he at the end of the day for the lack of support apparently from his team. He stormed off straight to the coach, did not want to speak to anybody. Mattia Catania as well must also feel aggrieved. Joy unbridled though for mum and dad of Uko Barade. One last smack on the chops from mum. Just underlining what he'd achieved and what this team has achieved. Absolutely remarkable. Well, there's some big days still to come. Berardi and his team could feel like they've basically won this Welter in a certain sense. Finishing ahead of Schmidt, Miguel, Max Paul, another great effort by him. What a stage winner we had today. And a new leader in the King of the Mountains competition with Marc Soler just edging Jay Vine by a solitary point. It could be that Jay Vine tomorrow takes that jersey back on behalf of UE Team Emirates, who've been amazing in this race as well, with a whole rack of stage wins and, of course, potentially that jersey. Ben O'Connor, can he hold on to red? Well, let's see at the end of tomorrow, shall we? But then again, we've said that so many times. He still leads this race by a margin of 5 seconds. O'Connor will be a man riding with almost a target on his back by the finale tomorrow, and this is the reason why. Moncalvillo awaits, and it is extraordinarily punishing. Comes at the end of a very difficult day, a rising category 3, but it's that spike at the last that will worry. It's going to be amazing. There will be changes, and you'll have to tune in to find out what they are.